Hey everybody, welcome to creating scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator using free resources. Today is kind of off my beaten path, so to speak. For all of you aircraft creators, this video is probably not for you, but it could be if you're just starting out. You aircraft creators and aircraft modders and things like that, you're going to have a totally probably better workflow than me. I am specifically talking to those scenery creators that want to bring in or create, some static aircraft and not having to remodel an aircraft. All right. All of you probably know that you have access to every single aircraft that is in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay. There is a way for you to bring those in, simplify them, modifications, whatever. And I'm not talking about flyable aircraft. I'm just talking about using aircraft for scenery, all right, and simplifying them and stuff like that. So what this video is going to be about is just the simple process of importing an Asobo aircraft, all right. To be honest with you, you can almost do any aircraft that's created, okay? A couple things I'm kind of just playing around with. I build models as a hobby. I build aircraft. Mainly I build ships. But, I mean, if you see in the background, I got some models that I'm working on. And also, right here, right there, is one of my 3D printers. All right. And if you probably hear some noise in the background, I have a 3D print going. But what I want to show you is how to bring in a just a simple Asobo aircraft, a default aircraft that comes with the simulator, and bringing that into Blender and making some modifications. Now, I'm not going to go in and make a whole bunch of modifications. I can show you if you want me to in a later video. Make sure you comment, okay? Of just setting one, just doing some scenery stuff with it. All right, so here I am in my File Explorer, and I want to get to where the aircraft are. All right, so I have a quick access to my community folder, and this just happens to be my path. I have a Steam installation of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I have the community folder as a quick access. All right. In order to get to the official packages, you just go back one step to packages, and you're going to see a folder called official. Now, this is the Steam version. The Microsoft Store, to be honest with you, that path is somewhere. You guys should know where that path is. But let's go into the official, and then we're going to go into Steam in my case. And then here is a list of all of the different aircraft stuff that's in that official folder. All right, notice that you have the 320 Neo, you have the 747-8, you got the Caravan, you got any aircraft that comes with the software. Now, I have the standard version of the sim, so I don't have the 787. All right, but what I'm going to show you is it's a little different now. I haven't been able to get it to import correctly with the Asobo exporter, but I also have, you can't see it on my, well, you actually can, you see it on the screen. I also have Blender 2.9 installed, and I have the MSFS 2 Blender add-on, okay? And that gives me the MSFS import ability. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to my program files, and I have my Blender Foundation, and you notice I have Blender 2.9 and I also have Blender 3.1. You can have multiple Blender installations all at the same time. I'm going to go into 2.1, and I don't have this on my desktop, and I do that on purpose so I don't. So when I go into 2.9, I know what I'm doing. Okay, I don't want to accidentally start 3.1. All right, so I'm in the 2.9 folder, and I'm just simply going to start Blender by double clicking, and it's going to open it up on my other screen. So let me grab that when it's open. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is 2.9. But if I go to File, Import, notice down at the bottom I have MSFS GLTF. All right. What I do is, I'm going to minimize this for a second, is I'll go into the official folder. Whoops, don't want to rename that. That would be bad. All right, and let's go in. Now, I already have the 320 Neo, and I also have the 747 already in a location that I can get. Okay, but to get there, you're gonna, let's say we wanted the 320. You'll double click on the 320, go into Sim Object, go into Airplanes, 320, and you'll go into the model folder. And in the model folder, you're going to see all the different models that they have, obviously, for that particular aircraft. If you want the highly detailed version, you want the LOD 00, okay? Whether it's the interior of the aircraft or it's the exterior of the aircraft, all right? We're going to concentrate on the interior. Now, what you're going to need to do for the importer in Blender is you need to copy the bin and the GLTF to some folder. Make sure you copy them, all right? So just do a shift click, select the level of detail that you want to play with. In this case, we're going to do the 001, the 00, the highly detailed version. And then you're just going to right mouse click and drag and drop those into a folder. Now, I already have them in a folder, so I'm not going to do this again. I'm just going to bring the one that I already have saved. Okay, so I drop those into some folder, like I think I have them in 3D model. I don't know. I've got to find out if I do or not. Let me see if I do. Not in there. Is it my Blender Learn? Let me double check. I can't remember where I copied them. Let me check that real quick. Yeah, I got them. They're in my 3D model folder, and here we have the A320 Neo LOD 00 bin and the GLTF. Okay, and I also down here have the 747-8. It's somewhere around here. What I just saw it just a second ago. Oh, I'm such an idiot. It's in here somewhere. I know it is. I know it is. Where is it? Why? I'm probably looking right at it, and I can't. And I'm not finding. Oh, duh! It's up here, right here. The -81 LOD 0 bin and GLTF right here for the 747. But I also want you to notice is I also have the 747 interior. Okay, and I'll show you that here in a second. All right, so I have those copied. All right, now in Blender, and remember this is Blender 2.9. All right. I'm going to select everything in Blender, and I'm just going to delete the default cube and the camera and the light. And I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Import, MSFS GLTF. And remember, this is Blender 2.9. And I am going to migrate over to my 3D models. And here you can see the A320neo LOD 00 and the 747 LOD 00 and the 747 interior, okay, which is pretty cool. You hear the 3D printer going on. I have imported the 747 cockpit, all right, and I have been extracting parts and pieces out of that model, and I am 3D printing that cockpit at 1:24 scale, pretty good size. Here is a 1/48 scale version, because most of my aircraft, my military aircraft in the background on my models are 1/48 scale. And I thought about making the cockpit 1/48, but it's kind of small, so I doubled the size. So now I'm printing out a 1:24 scale model of the cockpit of the 747, and I'll paint it up and make a model of that. But anyway, I digress. All right, so we're importing, and we're going to import. Let's go ahead and import the 320neo. So I'm going to choose the GLTF, and I'm going to hit import. And it'll take a little bit because there's a lot in there. It'll get there. I know it will. There it is. All right, now you're going to see a lot of goofy things that if you're not used to working with the aircraft. All right, now you aircraft designers, you know all about this. But if I zoom out, it is really kind of weird, isn't it? Okay, there's a lot of pieces parts that are flipped and pieces parts that aren't even where they're supposed to be. Okay, I don't worry about that too much because I am just doing scenery. All right, so usually what I'll do is I'll go in and edit this model. For instance, all of this stuff right here, okay, I'll just simply delete it. Okay, I'll delete this one because everything that I need is available in one way or the other. Okay, so for instance, if I want this wing and I want it correctly, if here's the origin of that wing, all I need to do is simply just use Blender tools, you know, and go into modify, mirror, and I got that wing mirrored. Okay, same with the engine parts and the wheels and stuff like that. Okay, now there's some advanced Blender stuff like moving origins to make sure that it mirrors in the right location and stuff like that. Okay, like here's a refueling hose that shows up in part of the animation when the fuel truck shows up and stuff like that. You can delete those. You can delete any amount of detail that you want. All right, and if I zoom in and kind of walk inside the model, okay, you see all the pieces, parts, and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that you can delete, and just to create a simpler version of the aircraft for scenery, because a lot of this stuff you don't want, okay, because it's just going to be terrible for frame rates and stuff like that. But if you want to just like the wings and the aircraft and the engines and the landing gear and stuff like that, you know, you can edit it in a way that's going to help you out. All right, then you can go in and start doing your texture painting. You can if you have cargo airplanes, like if you have the 747, matter of fact, let's bring that one in. Let's do a file, new, And let's don't save this because I already have a version of it. Let me select everything and delete. And let's go to File, Import, MSFS, GLTF. And let's go to our 3D models. You're going to see some really goofy things with the 747. So I'm going to select the 747, import that, and that takes a little bit to come in because it's a pretty good sized model. And it's going to really look goofy, but I'll explain some things. You got to get to know the models, okay? It's a big one. Okay, it's in. All right. But the 747 has, isn't that kind of weird looking? Well, the reason is, see the squared out one right here? Those are collision boxes. Okay, that's a collision. If you come over here in your table of contents in period, it says drone collision out. Okay, so you don't need that. So you just simply delete it. Okay, and then there's a lot of other collision things in there and other pieces that you may not want. You know, you can select all those, delete those, you know, select, see these engine cowlings and pylons and stuff, they're not in the correct spot, place. Okay, so here is the origin. If I select this engine nacelle here, the origin is based on the fan shaft. So you might have to, in order to move this to this spot, you'll have to move the origin over to the origin of the aircraft and stuff. So there's some advanced stuff that you got to go. But you don't have to remodel the airplane because you can use the Asobo stuff. All right. And like a lot of the flaps and ailerons and stuff like that, they're always in weird positions because of the animations that they're doing for it and the way that they lay out their models. But it just takes a little bit, it takes a lot actually, to make sure that you can move things back to where they're supposed to be. Okay, like these two engines, they're different locations than the nacelles and the cowlings than the fan blades. Okay, but yes, you can go into the Asobos and import those into Blender or whatever package that you're using, and you can do modifications to create aircraft that are for static scenery. All right. And if you're an aircraft designer, like a lot of you probably are, you know, you guys already know this and you have a better workaround and all that kind of stuff. But for those people that are getting started, that's simply it. You could just have all types of fun with it. All right, I'm going to show you, okay, as your bonus feature here, I'm going to do a new general. I'm not going to save that because I already have one saved. I'll select everything and delete it. And I want to show you the cockpit of the 747. So I'm going to go to File, Import, MSFS GLTF. I already have a copy of that GLTF copied down to my 3D models. And I'm going to choose Interior of the 747, Import. And this will take a little bit. I'll be right back. And it is in. It doesn't look like it because it's referenced way over here. Guess where it's referenced? It's referenced to the actual location of the cockpit of the actual model itself. So I'm going to zoom out and see, there it is. If I brought in that 747 exterior model, it would fit and the cockpit would be in that same location as the real cockpit on the model. Okay, but you notice that there's not much there, right? Well, because this is a collision box. If I hit period, okay, it's an occluder. It's an environmental occluder, sorry. But we don't need that, so I'm going to delete it. Okay, now we got the windshields, the windscreens, we got everything that we need in the cockpit, all right? So I'm just going to kind of play around here. Now, I do know that this is a shell, so I select that, and I'm just going to H hide it, and notice there's our cockpit. Okay, So I select the seats and zoom in, and everything that makes that cockpit is in there. Okay? Everything. All the switches, all the dials. Now I think that is an occlusion. Yeah, that's a panel collision, so I'm just going to simply delete that, and now your cockpit shows up. So if you guys ever want to 3D print a cockpit of an airplane, just import it into Blender and do some stuff. Look, I mean, you got headphones, you got all the knobs that the modelers made and all this kind of stuff. But yes, you have access to every model that you have in Flight Simulator. Okay, and so what I'm doing, just part of my hobby, is I'm 3D printing this cockpit into 1/24th scale, and then I'll have that on display when I get it done. So that's pretty cool. So, and if you, I mean, you can use this cockpit model for any aircraft. Like if you're making scenery and a particular airline has a you know, some kind of headquarters or something, and they got a simulator, you can actually make a cockpit and make the little simulator in the scenery. So just some kind of cool things that we can do with scenery. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, this is here in the United States. This is the week of Thanksgiving. So if you guys are here in the U.S., I wish you everybody a happy Thanksgiving. May you have a wonderful time with your family and friends and fellowship and all that kind of stuff. If you're not in the United States, it's probably just another week for you. But anyway, I thought I'd get something out for you guys this week. I'm going to be taking the rest of the week off. I got a bunch of stuff I got to get done around the house, and family coming. And anyway, hey, if you haven't, please subscribe. I know people don't want to subscribe, but it really helps the channel out. Make comments. You aircraft designers, you're welcome to chime in to help people learn if you want to. Please consider supporting me by buymeacoffee.com/buymeacoffee. Let's try this one more time. buymeacoffee.com/myphysicalworld. I also have a Patreon page, My Physical World, and I have a Gumroad page where I put some freebies up there for you, and I also sell some maps because I'm a cartographer by profession. But I do have a lot of freebies up there for you. But that's my Gumroad page, myphysicalworld.gumroad.com. Check it out. Anyway, comment, like, share, hit the notification bell, all that YouTube stuff. Help me get past all the algorithms because I'm such a small channel. And hey, thanks for coming. I hope you guys have a blessed week, and I will see you guys next week on the next video. We'll see you guys later.